Hi, I'm Felipa, and this is day 27. 57. Gosh, it's the 27th of October, but it is day 57 of my big reading plan to complete reading this big Bible in a year's time. So today I started on still book of Samuel, chapter 8. And Samuel's sons are evil leaders, so Israel asks for a king. So Samuel has two sons. He makes them judges, so nepotism, and they are terrible. It says they turned aside after lucre, they took bribes and had perverted judgment. So the elders gather onto Samuel and say, your sons suck, for lack of better words. Give us a king. And it says in verse 7, and the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. And so Samuel tries to kind of reason with them and to say, you guys don't need a king. Like you guys have a king. You have a Lord. He's like your one and only person that you need to listen to and take commandments from and obey and follow in his path, but they want a king. Okay. So we kind of turn into a different story that's also very related, and you will see why. There's a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, and he had a son whose name was Saul. And Saul was very goodly, and it says here in chapter 9, verse 2, from his shoulders and upward, he was higher than any of the people. I really like this sentence because essentially it's saying like it has nothing to do with his money or status or who he's married to or who his family is. It just says shoulders and upward, he was higher than any of the people. Basically meaning what your mind is, who you are as a person. Like that's what makes an individual be goodly. And so Saul, he ends up trying to go find some donkeys, or back then they were called asses, still kind of are, that have been lost. And so him and his servant go and they try to find these donkeys. And they don't find them, but they run across a guy. It says bring, and they say, go into this city and ask for this prophet. And they go and they end up finding Samuel. So he's the prophet. And it says here in verse 15, now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines, for I have looked upon my people because their cry is come unto me. And Samuel talks to Saul, and they dine together, and Saul's kind of surprised because he's like, am I not just like of the smallest of the tribes of Israel? And my family's like the least of all the families in the tribe. Why are you speaking to me? And Samuel takes him under his wing, treats him really well, finds him, dines him, and he anoints Saul to be the prophet. And so Saul goes, it says he prophesies. And it's interesting because the way that Samuel tells him to go to be a prophet, he tells him, don't worry about those donkeys that your dad lost. Like they'll be found, and you'll end up coming across a bunch of other prophets, and you'll go with them and serve and prophet with them. And other people take hold of this and they start realizing what he's doing, and so they start asking it. And here in chapter 10 verse 11, it says the people started kind of asking, what is this that is come on to the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? So now they're seeing him associated with these prophets, and I think in a way God ordained it so because Samuel is trusted, and now by extension Saul is trusted, and because he is associating with these other propheters, the people are kind of by extension automatically trusting him. It's kind of like if you're trying to sell something to somebody or tell them something and it's coming from you and you're their friend, they're more likely to buy it from you than from somebody who they don't know, kind of like marketing 101. And so the Lord confirms this choice of Saul and says, like, you guys wanted a king, I give you a king. And here in chapter 24, it says, Samuel said to all the people, see him whom the Lord hath chosen, that there is none like him among all the people. And all the people shouted and said, God save the king. So once again, people are kind of, asked backwards because Samuel keeps trying to tell them, you have one Lord, and they're not listening. And so whatever, God kind of goes with the flow and says, sure, here you go. Here's this prophet. And now he can also be your king. and you guys can listen to him. And then Saul defeats King Nahash of Ammon. And so essentially there's this Nahash, the Ammonite, comes up against Jabesh Gilead and says to him, or says to that tribe, I'm going against Israel. The Jabesh Gilead say, give us a little bit of time. We're going to go try and figure out if anybody can save us. And if there's no man to save us, then we're going to join your forces, which is kind of odd. I don't know whoever would do that. I don't think if you told somebody that you'd join in a fight, I don't think that they would let you go to try to find a savior for themselves. But anyways, that's what they do. So they go to Saul and they say, we have this King Nahash who's trying to come after you. And Saul is visited by the Lord, and the fear of the Lord fell on the people. And essentially Saul ends up banding with these men of Jabesh, and they end up defeating this King Nahash who tried to come after Israel. Yeah, and it says here, so chapter 11, verse 11, and says, "And it was so on the morrow that Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the host in the morning watch, and slew the Ammonites until the heat of the day." So then Saul is confirmed in his kingdom. And then he testifies to his integrity. He's basically saying, this is Samuel testifying to his integrity. And he's saying, I've listened to you. I made a king over you. Now you have a king. But also I'm old and gray-headed, and I'm pretty much done doing my job here. And just so you guys know, why are you against the Lord, right? Like I'm witness to you that I haven't wronged you. But, now this is my opportunity to kind of not punish you, but to let you know that I'm very unhappy with you for your ingratitude towards the Lord. And so this big section here, it's Samuel basically saying, you've forgotten who your Lord is. You've forgotten that he's brought you out of Egypt and all this stuff. And then it says, the people of Israel cried unto the Lord and said, "We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and have served Baalim and Ashtaroth," which are these other false gods. And Samuel goes on to continue saying, obey the Lord. Yes, you do have a king, but then just also so you know, the Lord reigns over your king and over you. So meaning, like, once again, we're back to square one. God is above the people. He is also above the king. Like, he is the God, the king, the one and the only. And Samuel warns the people about their sins for asking for a Lord. And here in chapter 12, verse 21 says, And turn ye not aside, for then should ye go after vain things, which cannot profit nor deliver, for they are vain." Really like this verse, because it's basically saying, don't follow wickedness. Do not turn aside from following the Lord. Serve him with all your heart, because if you turn aside, you will go after vain things. And vain things, so if you think about like money or caring about how you look, they are things that you cannot profit from, and nor can they deliver for you, because they are vain. You get nothing out of them. They just end up causing you more problems. And this is where Samuel kind of ends his little speech here. He says, lastly, here in verses 24 and 25, "Only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he hath done for you. But if ye shall still do wickedly, ye shall be consumed, both ye and your king." So essentially saying, here, have what you asked for, but it's kind of useless, because there's still one Lord who is going to judge you, and not your actual king that you think. So really interesting section, because clearly we're showing that people still lack this concept of faith, and that they need a physical thing to believe in. They need to physically see something in order to obey it, follow it, guide it. But I also see it as this kind of sad thing where people they don't have, the trust and the belief and the faith within themselves and their own mindset to follow in a path and continue on that, but instead are constantly looking towards somebody else or something else to guide them or to tell them how to think or how to feel. And if you remember a couple of chapters back, it was that whole notion of like, at that time, when people were not following a king or a lord, like they were just kind of doing whatever their own little law kind of said that they would. They were kind of making stuff up. So clearly we need kind of like one set of rules so that everybody can be on the same page, but that's not happening. So yeah, once again, kind of a pattern of the people of Israel turning away from the Lord. And this is where I'm done for day 57. Tomorrow I am still in Samuel and on to chapter 13, where it says Saul's select band of 3,000 warriors. I will let you know what I read then. Thanks for listening.